So after I wake up, I'm looking up, and, you know, I got Steve Atwater like this, over me like, because he just leveled me, right? So you know what I had to do, Ron? I got up and started a fight, man.
We just gonna fight. He was like, now I got to fight you.
Now I got to fight you, right? Because after you done knocked me silly, and I'm sitting there, and as I'm coming to, I'm like, I hear this dude over me like barking, right? I gotta fight, dog. I gotta fight. I gotta fight. So I got up and I started a nice little, you know,
training camp brawl.
Team right?
Rumble.
Made the news and the whole thing, man. Yes. I'm Muhsin Muhammad, 14-year NFL vet, retired player now, and businessman and family man. And this is NFL Players Second Acts Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Peanut Tillman, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. I'm Peanut. This is my guy, Rome. What's good, dog? Thanks, man, for always having me. That was very normal coming in. So, but I guess you're going to be professional because we got a real
I'm going to be professional today.
We got a real professional on the show right now. So
I have a nickname for you this time.
Oh, I saw that. Thanks for all the viewers and listeners always tune in. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Give us a review. Leave a couple comments. And don't forget to hit that follow button and subscribe wherever you pick up your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app. Thanks for tuning in as always. And Peanut, I'm really, really excited about this gentleman that we have in. He's become a good friend of mine. I would say he's a legend in the community in which I live right now in Charlotte, North Carolina, and many, many other places, especially with all the things that he's doing off the field as well. So go ahead and tell us who we got.
This next guest is a really good personal friend of mine, and we had some battles in Chicago.
I heard.
Yeah, he played 14 years in this league. He is in the Panthers Hall of Honor. He's an entrepreneur. He is a Emmy-winning broadcaster. Ladies and gentlemen, Muhsin Muhammad.
Yeah.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome to the pod.
Man, no, you know, Nut.
Emmy, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I started with kind of doing stuff with you back in, I don't know if you remember that Chicago, we had a little radio show back in the day.
We did.
Messing around, playing around with it, but
we did have that. I forgot about that. We had a radio show.
You and I had a radio show right there in Chicago.
At Hallis Hall.
At Hallis Hall.
I forgot about that.
You forgot about that, huh? Yeah.
I did forget about that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, we cut our teeth early. I mean, I spent a little bit of time going over to NFL Europe doing games and stuff like that. But, yeah, when what was that, my first year in Chicago, Peanut? You and I had a radio show together, man. And we used to mess around a little bit there. Yeah, you forgot about that, huh?
My first work
Bringing up old stuff. I'm bringing up old stuff.
I mean, that means it wasn't hitting on that. You don't even remember your first girlfriend. That's
see?
Honestly, I remember now, but
now you remember.
See? That's what happens when he's put his hands on me so much back in the day. He started forgetting about all the other stuff. You know?
I see that.
Hey, you just took me back with that.
Now Moose, you are one of 4 players to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl with multiple teams.
Multiple teams, yeah.
Do you know who the other 3 are?
Gosh, that's a good question. No, I don't.
Take a guess.
I'm going to guess Andre Rison might have been one of them.
No. He only scored with Green Bay. Good guess, though.
Okay.
All right. The other one, come on. I want you to get this one.
In the Super Bowl with multiple teams.
Greatest of all time.
Jerry Rice.
There we
go.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go, Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice then.
I'll give you a tight end.
A tight end. Gronkowski.
There we go.
Okay.
And the other guys is a former teammate of yours.
And the other guy's a former teammate of mine.
Yes.
I'm going to say Ricky Prohl.
There it is.
There you go.
Scored with you guys.
That's right. He did with the Rams.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not bad if you give me a little hit. Get my foot in the stirrup, man. I get on the horse and we can ride it now. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. That makes sense now. Okay.
Yeah, it does. All right, so back in Super Bowl XXXVIII, for all of you that don't know, that was when the Panthers played the New England Patriots.
2004.
Right.
You caught an 85-yard touchdown. I watched that in my college apartment.
That's right.
And, man, that was awesome. I was cheering for you guys. I really was going for the Panthers big time that year. I just really was a big fan of Steve Smith, yourself. Jake Delhomme seemed like just a guy that was just making it happen. You guys were a fun team to watch.
I was
and
rooting for
play
y'all too.
Yeah.
You know,
no, you weren't, Peanut. Get out of here.
Jake,
No.
Raging Cajun.
Okay, that's right.
So
Raging
come on
Cajun.
now.
Okay, yeah,
God
you're right.
damn.
You're right.
I was rooting for y'all too.
I don't know how to take a sarcasm sometimes.
I
It's
was-
real
hey,
and fake,
Jake,
you know, like.
he
'cause
from
you know-
I feel you.
Yeah.
That wasn't fake.
we're gonna
he's
get
a
into
Raging Cajun.
why we
we
have
met in the
this.
hole, but I had to get on the line of scrimmage with this guy. You
Yeah,
know, like
this
he's
is
grabbing
different.
and holding on me
Yeah.
and stuff. You know, fighting and tussling every
Totally
day at
different.
practice. You know what I mean?
After you called that ball, because I think it was at the 6-minute mark, a
Yeah.
little bit around that mark
right.
in the fourth quarter. You guys took the lead. In your mind, is it over?
In my mind,
'Cause Tom
I said,
Brady wasn't Tom Brady
absolutely
then.
not. No, because I don't know if you watch like these Super Bowl throwbacks and all that kind of stuff and these documentaries of the game. But when I came to the sideline, I told Steve, I said, it ain't over. I said, you know who the quarterback is on the other side? I said, that's Tom Brady, bro. This game ain't even close to being over with yet.
Yeah.
And I think we had a record of how many points was scored in that Super Bowl in the fourth quarter. Maybe like almost 35, 40 points was
was
scored
going
in
back
that.
Real
back.
back and forth. So it was
Yeah,
just
it was real back and forth. But, I mean, I knew that I was strapped up and ready to go because we weren't even close to going to be done on that game.
And do you know that is also, I don't know, you may know this. I assume you know this. Longest touchdown in pass in
Super Bowl history.
Super Bowl history.
Yeah,
So-
still
I
a
didn't know-
record.
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Still a record
Still
to this
a record,
day,
yeah.
85 yards. I want to make sure all of our viewers know this because we're here to educate and entertain.
Yeah.
Usually not in that order, but yeah.
So we had the luxury, we had the privilege, honor to play in Super Bowl 41.
41,
And that was your second loss. That was my first one. And then I went on to play in Super Bowl 50 and went on to lose that one. How tough was it for you to lose that first one?
The first one, it was very tough. The first one, it was very emotional. And, we were the underdogs. What we had to overcome that year by beating Dallas in the first round and then going to St. Louis, beating Kurt Warner, Mike Marks, the greatest show on turf in St. Louis. And
Walk-off style.
Walk-off style, right? Smitty walking off
It was
walk-off
style.
running, right?
This is when you guys had me. I was all in.
Yeah, and that and then you got Andy Reid, Donovan McNabb with Philly, and you need to win that championship game. And I don't know if you guys know this story, but like the night before the game, in that championship game, one of these Philly fans set off the fire alarm in the hotel. So we were outside in the cold right before the championship game. It was crazy.
I mean, no, not in Philly.
Nah,
Yeah,
No.
it happened in Philly, right?
No.
It didn't happen in Philly, right?
No.
But anyway, so
Greatest
like that build up,
brotherly
man,
love.
was amazing. Like for the
Yeah.
game, and it was a letdown. That was a big letdown. But I would say this: that the only people in the world that expected us to win that game were probably the guys in that locker room and maybe
Yeah.
a few Carolina fans. When we lost that in the Bears, we were supposed to win that game.
1,000%.
We were supposed-
Everybody thought you guys would win that game.
We were supposed to win that game, and we had the talent and everything else to win that game. So that one hurt.
What do you think kept us from winning that game?
Tell it, Moose. This is what we do. Andre Rison came in here and pointed fingers at everybody.
Yeah.
I've come in here and pointed fingers at everybody at Super Bowl. 50 lost.
Yeah.
Let's be real. What happened?
We
Besides the rain. Don't say that.
well, when you got Purple Rain, you got Prince in his last
So iconic.
live performance, in the stilettos. I don't know if y'all watched that documentary, but when you got Prince coming out there singing Purple Rain in the rain, in the stilettos, that to me was probably the only good part of the game,
Yeah.
as I look back on it. But everything else, like we didn't show up. I mean, it was a perfect week of weather the whole week.
Yeah.
And we woke up that morning. I remember doing an interview with Solomon Wilcox that morning. I woke up and outside the hotel, and I was like, God, it's raining out here. He's like, oh, yeah, it's going to rain the whole day. It's like, the whole day? Yeah, it's going to rain the whole day. And so, yeah, that was a factor, but we didn't show up as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't show up as a team, and then we had, 4 or 5 turnovers in the game.
Can't do it.
We had, I think a lot of people know this, but we had a lot of controversy surrounding, who was the right quarterback to play. Was it Brian Greasy? Was it Rex? Rex was hurt. He was coming off of this. Running back, said Benson got hurt. Thomas Jones was balling,
Yeah, he
right?
was.
So we had
Jones was
like all
balling.
this balling, right?
Yeah.
So like there was all this kind of political satire going on in the background. And I thought that it just became a distraction.
Yeah. Instead of just going out there and being the best team that you
The
guys
main
were.
thing got to be the main thing,
Yeah.
bro. You know the main thing. If anytime it's not that, then there's distractions, right?
Correct.
And it's not about us putting our best foot forward to win, and it was a whole lot of stuff that distracted us. And offensively, there's no excuse when you got Bernard Berrien over there.
Yep.
There was lighting stuff up, right? You got me over there. You got Rasheed Davis that was lighting stuff up. You got 2 running backs. It don't matter who you get the ball to. Just give them ball. You got Olin Kreutz up front. This ball,
Yeah.
we had this squad that it didn't make no sense
You
for us
guys
not
are
to
the
win that
best
game.
team in the league all
And
year.
then let's not even talk about what our defense was doing,
Yes.
right? And, with Peanut, Nate Vash, Mike Brown, like, we had all these guys up front, Adewale Goulet. I mean, we just had this squad that was, like, amazing, right? And let's not even bring up Lax and Lance Briggs and, like Hunter Hillenmeyer. Like, we had all these guys that were just amazing guys. And the main thing didn't stay the main thing. And that's what it was. It was, I can't necessarily say that they were that spectacular. It was just that, boom, boom, boom. We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to place any blame. I take it myself because, hell, I didn't have the greatest game, Like, I wasn't on the same page with my quarterback. And, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that happened in that game that the best team, I think, the best team that played the best that day won. But I think the better team didn't show up to play their best game.
That's the best thing about football is the team that plays the best that day wins.
That's it.
And in the biggest games, you can't have 4 or 5 turnovers. I've been in a game like that.
Right.
You look back, you're like, dude.
Yeah. I know defense probably kept grabbing the helmet like, Peanut probably looking at us like, come on, man. Y'all got us back on the field again?
That's exactly what happens. This is what happened in Super Bowl 50.
Right.
We did that,
it's the
but
same
it was like
thing.
low key. Like, you don't want to make it so obvious. Like, God dang, we just. I remember when I got that. When I got the forced fumble, and then I recovered it. I was like, all right. And I remember going to the sideline.
And saying something.
It's like, all right, yeah, cool. And then something happened. It was a turnover, and I was like, God damn. What is we doing? Again, you don't want to project that, and you don't want your offense to see that. Like, come on, y'all letting us. Like, you don't. I think that's bad energy.
That is.
But at the same time, you're just like, come on, y'all. Like, we doing it. Like, I need y'all to like help us out a little bit. Like, that was kind of one of the things in Chicago that you are accustomed to. Defensively, I think the majority of my time in Chicago, we were squared away.
Mm-hmm.
It was always the offense trying to get their footing, and the defense. For the most part, we had our footing, but it was just like, yo, come on. Like, let's go, y'all. Let's
That was
ride.
kind of the whole mantra, too, because I remember when I came and I was looking at Chicago, I was Lovey, and I talked about, like, what it was that we needed.
Yeah.
What it was, what could take the Bears over the top. And, and I was going into a free agent year that year, and I'm like, I saw all the pieces there, and it was a little bit of offense, right? And a lot of it was confidence, more than it was talent. Because the guys in my room, they just didn't know how to believe in themselves. Justin Gage, Bernard Berrien, Rasheed Davis. I mean, we had guys there that were talented. But I don't know if they believed in themselves. Matter of fact, Rasheed was on defense, and we snatched him up and brought him in the offensive room. You know what I mean?
He was killing us on scout team.
I didn't even know that.
Killing us on scout team.
Killing us, right?
From San Jose State.
San Jose State playing
Rasheed with the
arena
thickest list.
football or something like that. He played.
Yeah. He was playing arena football, worked at Best Buy from San Jose State.
Yeah, like a real life.
He had a real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he went to Europe, NFL Europe. I don't think he was just like,
It was
like
either
a West
Canada
Coast
or
cat.
Europe or something like
Yeah.
that. But
Rasheed Davis.
Yeah.
He got the thickest list. His S's is strong. Like them S's right there. Oh my God. Rasheed gonna come with, but it's cool. I love you, Rasheed.
Hey, I want to know about this though, because
Yeah.
you guys were teammates.
Yeah.
Me and you never crossed paths like that, always
Yeah.
against each other. What was it like as teammates? I know you guys had a radio show that Peanut didn't remember until today.
Yeah.
But what was that like, lining up against each other every day? Because Peanut, he said you were his first like guy he had to like really battle and had wars with at practice on a consistent basis.
Yeah, right. You're right. I don't know. I mean, from my perspective, I mean, like I got challenged early in my career by some pretty good corners, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like going up against Eric Davis every day. He faced Jerry Rice, on a regular basis when he was with the 49ers.
Yeah.
And I went into a veteran locker room. So having guys like that, and then like Doug Evans, and he came from Green Bay. So I had these big corners I had to go up against. So when I came to Chicago and I was like going up against Peanut, I was like, he was frustrating. like the peanut punch got developed while we were in practice, and it was frustrating because he would come up after you make a good move on it, and it boop, and knock the ball out, right? And you'd be like, man, it was just frustrating. But you know, the old saying goes, iron sharpens iron,
Yes.
right? And it made me better because you got to remember, Nut, I was 31
Yeah.
when I
was in my third year. You 05, right? Was it-
05.
Yeah, 05, yeah.
I was 31 years old, 05, so
I was brand new.
and you were brand new in the league, and I was like, this young dude is like giving me the flux every day, but I just was hell-bent for leather on fighting him every day. And
Because you was getting better though. in a
yeah,
way.
he's keeping me young.
That was that,
Yeah.
but
He was
that, but
keeping
that
me
training
young.
camp
Yeah.
though was like that was probably one of the hardest training camps I went to because I had Marty Booker my rookie year, but Marty was like, "Come on, man, chill out. Like you going too hard." Marty was that kind of guy. Like you practicing too hard. Like what are you doing? Where I had the mentality of iron sharpens iron. Like no, man. Like I'm trying to stay on this field. Like I'm not a starter yet. Like I'm trying to develop or be a person like in this league. I want to be feared. And when we got Moose, I didn't know a lot about him at the time, but then obviously training camp comes and we are literally just like
every day.
battling.
I ain't
2 days.
taking a day off. Like
we went at it.
and that's how I like
gave
I
me
like
the business
that. Like,
idea.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
We
I'm
went
not
back and
brother-in-law
forth.
nobody. Like
Yeah,
there
we
ain't
went
no
back and
brother-in-law
forth.
here.
It was just like this. We went back and forth, but it was all out of love, though. Like it was like I can honestly say, like you were the first receiver to really get me better early in my career. You got like the young dumb peanut who was just pure athleticism.
Yeah.
I wasn't smart. I didn't really know the game. I just was
playing.
I was just playing. I was out there like a dumbass. I'm just playing, just pure athleticism.
Yeah,
and you kind of taught me how to, like, well, okay, maybe I need to not stack them this way. Like you kind of helped me develop my game.
Yeah, well,
we had
went
some
to work,
battles.
man. No, we had our battles and we went to work, which was beautiful because, I mean, if you like what Peanut, how he's describing it, I started off my career that way. I mean, I had this receiving coach, God rest his soul, Richard Williamson, and I'm glad I had him early on because he coached under Bear Bryant. He played for Bear Bryant, and Joe Namath was his quarterback back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this junction boy mentality, right? Dude, I played like 3 years before he even told me good job.
Yeah.
I was in the Pro Bowl before he told me I had a good season, right? And in the age where you got like Jerry Rice and you got Shannon Sharp or Sterling Sharp, right? And you got, I mean, you name it. I mean, there was Chris Carter's and all these different guys. Like, if you've been making a Pro Bowl with them guys, you better go to work every day. And so, like, having that kind of mentality starting out in the league, that's what shaped my work habits. So every day I came to practice, I mean, Peanut, I caught balls before practice.
Yeah.
After practice, I went and got some guys and brought them with me. Put Bernard in front of that jug machine.
Yeah.
Put Justin Gage in front of that jug machine. Everybody, right? Like, it's a standard. And so that's what I thought, like, it was always supposed to be like. So when you and I were fighting every day, I was like, oh, this shit is normal for me.
Yeah.
This is normal for me. Like,
It wasn't for me because my first 2 years I didn't have, like, I wanted that. I was trying to do that, but I didn't have that veteran receiver who was, it was just complaining. Like, oh, you going too hard, you practicing too much. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to get right. Like, I'm trying to be great in this league.
I love
I ain't
that.
trying to just fly under the radar.
Talking about bringing guys with you. Thomas, just wait a second. Talking about bringing guys with you. Steve Smith said there is no Steve Smith without Muhsin Muhammad. Number one, how does that make you feel when you hear that? And for such a great player as Smitty is, that he said I'm nothing without this man.
Yeah. Honored. I don't know, I invest in people, man. That's kind of my thing was like, I loved my brothers, and even if they were more successful than me, I still love my brothers because, it's just kind of who I was. And I got to this point in my career where after 3 or 4 years of ups and downs, and I want to win. Like, I don't love anything more than winning, right? Or should I say, I hate to lose more than I love to win, but I really hate to lose.
Yeah.
But I don't know, hearing that from Smitty, man, because it was a long time before we could even say that to each other because it was this competitive spirit amongst us. But it was still about like competing for the sake of the same common goal, but who's going to get the most glory and all that kind of stuff was also a competition.
Correct.
But I think I did, in a sense, brought him with me because I didn't let him take a day off either, you know. And I knew that Smitty, I mean, the dude run 4.2, 4.3, right? His calf's probably wider than this table here, right? But I knew that in order for us to be great, he had to play great every day. And so I challenged him to be that. In the days he wanted to take off, I went harder, which made him look bad. So he got to go harder than I'm going. And if I'm going hard and you going hard and everybody going hard, so that's just that's the bar that we set, was that we just gonna go hard. And when we got to the games were easy. It was like almost like I became the voice of reason. I used to be the attitude person on the team, like go in there, smack safeties, you know, like, you know, you met me in the whole on the many occasion, right? I wasn't going to slow down.
That's you better know.
Yeah.
You better know about Moose out there.
Right. But some of those attitude issues, I had to, like, calm Steve down, because when I get him hyped up, like, he don't know how to slow down. Like, I'm like, man, I better chill out, because I'm
he gonna go over the edge.
Yeah, he going over the edge, right? He gonna mess around and, you know, like, get kicked out of the game or something. But it was, you know, it was a really beautiful brotherhood, and I think we celebrate the connections that we made, both from a competitive spirit, and we can appreciate it a whole lot more, like what we both got out of it. Because he challenged me too, and I learned from him too. Like, let's not get it mistaken, right? Like, Smitty took it and said, okay, and then took it to a whole nother level, right? And even in broadcasting, right? I mean, I gave up TV and broadcasting. I'm just like focused on a lot of other things right now. But he's great at that too, right? And challenged him on a lot of different things. And so there's a lot there that, to the point, iron sharpens iron, right? So there's a level of admiration. There's a level of what I would say is humility, and I appreciate him saying those things. I wouldn't expect it out of him. I never expected it out of him, and I never come out there and say, "Oh, I'm the reason he's this and that." Because, like Jay-Z say, when they say, "Oh, I'm the reason Jay-Z is successful," Jay-Z say, "Well, if you made Hove, well, make another Hove." And you can't make another Steve Smith, and I didn't make Steve Smith, right? I might have challenged him, but I'm honored to be a part of his legacy.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to be a part of your legacy, right? And I'm honored to be a part of any of my teammates that I played with success, because that's who I am fundamentally.
I got a question for you. The title captain.
Yeah.
It means something.
It does. Especially
when your peers, your teammates, they vote you with that title. You've been on two teams, and you've been a captain. You've been voted captain on both teams. How does that make you feel?
Honored, man. I mean, when you captain, Pro Bowl, you know, those are votes that your peers, your opponents, those votes mean something special. To me, they do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because we all made money, we all did well with that, but then there's like this whole other fundamental part of like building up people, right? Yeah. And those relationships that you build while you're in the game are far more important. They last longer than anything else, right? So those things are special to me. And I mean, being a team captain, voted amongst your peers, and embracing that. And I'll tell you where I got that from, because I wasn't that way early on in my life, right? About my third year in the league, Reggie White came on our team.
Okay.
Right? And Reggie, he embodies what it means to be a captain and a leader.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if any of y'all ever got a chance to
never
be around Reggie White.
To.
But Reggie White in the locker room was amazing. And he's the one that came to me and was like, man, you great and all, you're going to be real good in your career. I was like my third year, right before I made my first Pro Bowl. And he was like, you got to take some guys with you. He was like, you doing all this stuff you're doing, I'm watching you, young guy, because you stay after practice, you come before practice, you're doing all this stuff, you got all these work habits, you stay in the film room, take some guys with you. And it's going to make the team better. And that's where I kind of like shifted my whole career around being unselfish.
Yeah.
And building up other people around me, you know what I mean? And that's when I started to become a captain of the team, like after fourth year in the league and then beyond was about building up men.
Do you remember when you were the captain in Chicago? Funny story. We were playing baseball in our locker room, and it's all the captains. It's T. Jones, it's you, it's Olin, Mike Brown. So they decided to play some baseball. We got like this makeshift bat with like a little hook in it, right? So we getting ready to go to a meeting, and we had a towel, and you wrapped it up with some tape. Somebody throws a pitch. I don't know who was batting, but somebody swung.
Got the dirty clothes bins with the bases.
Yeah, dirty clothes bins with the bases. So whoever pitched it, someone batted, whatever. They swing it, they hit it, make full contact. The damn hook piece flies off the bat and goes into Fred Miller's leg. It flew right into his leg.
Like in there.
It's so he got to get stitches. This is like
now we in trouble.
A Thursday or Friday.
Kids is playing and got wild. Tore up the furniture.
Somebody broke something.
Somebody done broke something. Yeah. Next thing you know, they gotta go see Lovey. Well, and I'm telling it. I should let you tell the story, but the way Mike Brown told it, he was like, "So guys, where are the captains? What happened?" And then somebody was like, all the captains were there. We were playing. All the captains was playing. It's our fault. But that was oh man, I'll never forget that story. It's like, where the captains at? The captains was playing, coach.
I think that's the one thing that a lot of people don't get. They see the results on Sundays.
Yeah.
But it's all those little things and the camaraderie, the companionship, the togetherness that you build from Monday to Saturday is what allows you to be great on Sundays.
Right. That's right.
It's the willingness to go a little bit more for that guy.
That's right.
Because of the hit that he had on Wednesday in the locker room when we're playing baseball, right? Yeah. Like those are the things that I don't think a lot of people get, and it's also the little things like what you said, Reggie White. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Because we know of Reggie White, his spirit, the person he was, but for him to see you as a young player, be like, hey, you need to bring somebody with you.
Spoke life into you.
Like that, those things. And you never know who that veteran guy is, or those little words that's going to stick with somebody forever. And it's like, man, like the fact that Reggie even said something to me means gold. I remember I covered Steve Smith in the back line of end zone my rookie year before I tore my ACL week 2, playing in Carolina. I don't even know. I think you guys won the game. I don't even remember. But I covered him, and he said, hey, man, I've been watching you on film. You're going to be a good player. For him to say that to me, when I told you I was a fan of you guys since when you guys went to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And I didn't even think he knew who I was. But those little things like that, checking the box in your memory, you never let it go.
So why you hit him in the back, man?
Bro, because I didn't run over there for nothing. I didn't run over.
I remember that. I remember when you hit him in the back. I said, "Yo,"
but it made the whole rivalry better, though.
Yeah, it did. There was something about that.
It
ratcheted
it up.
Hitting somebody.
I was
late hitting,
body slam driver.
Right.
His Smitty in the
Calm
back.
Down, man. What is it? We need a little. We need some brotherhood when it came to that, right?
But those things are why they remember me.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. Yeah. And so what I want to get to you about is post-career.
Yeah.
Number one, what was that transition like for you? Because that's what we always like to ask everybody about that. And then also number two, how did you get into private equity? I know you went to the business school at Wharton Business School at UPenn.
That's right.
But kind of lead us into that. Tell us that story.
Man, that's interesting. So the transition was, I think I was ready, you know? I came back to Carolina to play 13 and 14 years. I was 37 years old. I had a young family at the time. You know, my kids were like going into high school at that time. And I was ready I wasn't ready to keep moving around and going. And I had this opportunity that I had been developing around the private equity sector, and you know, up until that point, I had some experiences investing capital, had been involved in some real estate and in some operating companies as a passive investor, as an LP. So I got to sit in the back seat and just kind of understand and learn. And when I came back from Chicago, back to Carolina, I approached Jerry Richardson, who was the owner of the Panthers at the time. And I painted this vision for him of what I wanted to build. and I wanted to have this opportunity to invest capital in a larger platform and own some operating companies, build some businesses, and create some generational wealth. And so he introduced me. He brought in Hugh McCall, who was
McCall's big in Charlotte.
Yeah, he was a former chairman of Bank of America, and there was a gentleman that worked for Mr. McCall. His name is Dennis Akayensu, and Dennis and I met, and over the next 2 years, we started developing a plan for this private equity firm. And so we started meeting with some people. There's another guy named Ray Groth, who's a partner of mine. He started the investment banking division for what's now Wells Fargo, but at the time it was First Union, became Wachovia. And Ray had a law degree. He practiced law with Cravath, Swaine & Moore, and got into transactions with First Boston. It was acquired by Credit Suisse. And so we all came together and really started thinking about raising capital and buying some operating companies. And so, after playing for a couple of years with the Carolina Panthers, I said, it's time to go try something else, do something else, be available for my family and do some other things that I think, challenged me a little bit, right? Challenged me intellectually, challenged me in a lot of different ways. And so I decided to leave playing ball and start this private equity fund. And so, we raised some capital, and then we're off to the races. So that was that.
Well, you're the exact example that everybody says, like, start planning for your career after it's, like, while you're in your career.
Yeah.
You did it right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But, it was organic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happened, I was, early in my career, I was exposed to private equity. Actually, it was more venture capital. I just put a little bit of money in with Ronnie Lott and Joe Montana and Harris Barton. They approached me when they were starting Champion Ventures. So, I liked golf, so it got me a chance to go out to Pebble Beach and play golf. But, that exposure to these Fortune 500 companies and Deutsche Bank and, Sequoia Capital and all these different platforms started to sort of shape my thoughts around investing. And then I was able to, kind of get involved in some other operating companies and things like that. And so I had this kind of mix of experience as an LP and also investing capital. And then I did some stuff around real estate as well. So I could really start to shape my mind around what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And if you play for 13 or 14 years, you have a luxury of kind of crafting an exit strategy, right?
That's true.
And, it's a luxury that a lot of us don't have because we don't get a chance to play that long. And the rug gets pulled from underneath our feet. But, Rome, I've always been a guy that challenged myself both intellectually. I'm an avid reader. Peanut probably tell you that. I used to be sticking on the back of the bus with Dan Brown books and all other kind of stuff. So, I've always been a person that sort of challenged myself in different ways. And when I got back to the Carolinas, I had 2 years, and I said, I don't want to be beholden to this game anymore. And after, I had my 14th year, I had 800-something yards and had a good, it was just time for me. I thought it was time for me to pursue some other interests. So that's kind of my story of how I decided just to cut it off and go in a different direction.
So all your kids are grown and they're all out the house. You're an empty nester.
Empty nester, man. My oldest is in law school at Syracuse. Mm-hmm. My second oldest graduated from culinary school and is a chef and does her own. She has like a healthcare beauty line of products. My third oldest is in medical school up in Boston. My two boys are undergrad in the middle. And my baby girl, she runs the whole show, man. She's 20 years old. She works for this insurance company, and she's doing quite well. So they're all grown and gone, and me and the wife are free to move about the country, man. So
So I think I know the answer, but what's bringing you happiness right now?
Man, just watching them grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm really into my kids and into my wife, and so I'm into my family. I enjoy fishing a lot, man. I'm like, got a couple ponds on my place, so I enjoy fishing. I still enjoy reading.
Yeah.
But, just watching the kids kind of be successful, man. like really, really, really getting into that. And I started to get soft peanut. Like back in the day, you know, I was a hard dude. So like I actually cry at stuff that makes me happy now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like
Beautiful. Beautiful. I brag about that all the time.
I'm like, man, what is going on? Like,
Good.
I find myself crying because I'm happy sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck is going on with me, man? Like, this thing is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But, like, my oldest is really doing well in law school at Syracuse, right? And calls me and tells me about, you know, some of the stuff that's taking place and stuff they're studying. And it's just beautiful. Like, I love it, right? And then, you know, I got a son. I got two boys that are my younger son runs track, and he just broke the school record in the 1500. He ran a 3:41 in the 1500. So, like, I got emotional about that because they posted this thing on Instagram that he broke the school record in the 1500. And then I got another boy. Now he's like, you know, playing college football and having success there. So, like, watching the kids be successful, man, is like I find so much joy in that.
Well, talking about that, number one, I see Moose the second a lot because the third. Sorry,
Yeah,
I see him a lot covering the SEC, and he's at Texas A&M. The one-handed catch he had his freshman year was amazing. But talking about kids and being proud of them, I'd be remorse if I didn't bring this up, and that is the fact how often Nick Saban uses you as an example to everybody else that always tries to say.
You saw that.
Everybody.
I mean, every
you got to give a
time.
little context to it, though.
Yes,
You got to
okay.
describe what it was.
So
You played for Nick, right?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't play? Okay.
I never played for Nick. He came to Alabama the year after I left.
Okay.
So, but he uses you as a great example. So the media, with some player gets in trouble, and he's always the first to say, well, I know the media wants me to run the kid off, throw the kid off the team, whatever. And I refuse to do that. I believe in second chances. These young men make mistakes, and it's okay. And so I'll reprimand him the way I'm going to do it. But he said the best example is you.
Yeah.
That you had got in trouble under Michigan State, and everybody wanted me to get rid of the kid. And he's like, do you want the kid on the street, or is he better on this field getting better in this locker room and where we can, you know, he's going to grow and he's going to make mistakes, but he's going to be better if we keep him.
Right.
And he's like, the man grew up, he's owning his own company. He's got a kid at Princeton. He's got a kid doing this. He's got a kid all these other things. The man's more successful than anything else, and you guys wanted me to get rid of him. And so he takes pride in an example of you. And so when you hear that and you know these things, what does that do for you?
Like I said, that makes me appreciative, right? Because, like, he invested in me.
Yes.
He believed in me. So I'm trying to make him look good, right? And I think it's a way to show appreciation and thanks too, right? And I am thankful that Nick believed in me, and I think he promotes this example because it's an example that actually played out the right way. That I think he the stories that he loves to happen for kids, right? And the reality is that we probably don't have enough good examples in our communities, right? Growing up, of these situations where guys come from these embattled. You know, Detroit is like home for me. I don't know if you know that, but like, I was born in Lansing, Michigan, but my parents are from Detroit. So my dad went to Northwestern, my mom went to Southwestern Detroit, right here. So I spent a lot of time in this city. And matter of fact, my old man is a police officer here in Detroit. He's 74 years old, and he's out here right now at the Super Bowl, right?
There's
on
tons
patrol.
of people out there.
On patrol right now, working as a police officer right now. The reason I say all that is because we don't have a lot of good examples in these communities, but we have these embattled communities, and then anytime somebody gets in trouble, it's like throw them to the wayside, right?
Yes.
And I think Nick, even if the second chances don't work, he believes in the best in people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you should, right? To a certain degree, the people who take those those second chances, and they do something real with it, I think he wants to use that as an example, and rightfully so. And I don't know, I feel indebted in a way, right? But I'm also appreciative of the second chance because it was a mistake, right? And people make those in life. So, what you do with your opportunities are important, right? And so I got real serious about life after that, right?
Yeah.
So, and then just grew as a person, continue to grow every day, man. You learn something from, you can learn something from people every day. A homeless person on the street can teach you something, right?
No doubt.
So it doesn't matter who it is, man. You can learn something from anybody, anytime, if you're willing and you're open to it. Right.
So what was your welcome to the NFL moment? I mean, you came here the second year of Panthers' existence, right?
Yeah.
Second round?
My welcome to the NFL moment was training camp my rookie year. There was this guy, he wore number 27. You remember back in the day, I did probably still do this.
He hate me guy?
Hold on, I'm going to tell you the story. But you remember back in the day, you spend a week in training camp, right?
Yeah.
And the drills were live, practices were live, all this stuff, right? So we go out to Denver, and we got training camp, and the Mile High was, all the elements and everything. But there was this guy that wore, I think it was 27. His name was Steve Atwater.
Oh, that 27.
Yeah. And we had live drills, and I remember it was a live team drill, and they were in quarters coverage, and I was outside and I had to run a slant route, and I could hear him calling it out, slant, corners backing up, and I could see him, coming
Shifting.
down, looking down in the hole, and all of a sudden, I'm fearless, right? I'm gonna run this slant, so after I wake up, I'm looking up, and I got Steve Atwater like this, all over me, like, because he just leveled me, right? So you know what I had to do, Ron? I got up and started a fight, man.
We just go fight.
He was like, now I got to fight you.
Now I got to fight you, right? Because after you done knocked me silly, and I'm sitting there, and as I'm coming to, I'm like, I hear this dude over me like barking, right? I gotta fight, dog. I gotta fight. So I got up and I started a nice little,
Training camp brawl.
Training camp brawl.
Team
right?
rumble.
It made the news and the whole thing, man. Yeah,
I love that.
Every
training
time
camp
we
brawl,
talk
man.
about somebody when they have the team
Atwater's
practice,
bigger than you too.
everybody fights.
He's taller than me.
Dude, Atwater's so big.
Yeah,
Brought
he's
that
taller
heat.
than me. Yeah, he brought that heat, man. And he was like a coil. He was tall, but he was linky like a basketball player, but he could coil up like this, and it just, boom, it just explode on you, just knock you in the next week, right? And that joker hit me so hard. He hit me so hard. I was just, and I was out for a second. You know how you just laying there for a second, but back then you just got your bell rung, right?
Yeah.
And I could just hear him over the top of me, like, and I'm just looking. By the time I came to, I could see his jersey and I could see his legs over the top of me, right? It was time to fight, man. That's all I know. It was time to fight. It was time to fight.
Now I got to fight you. Oh, that's a good one. I want to know about the time you put the word decoy on your jersey.
Oh wow.
When you was in Carolina.
I like this.
When you
moves.
were in
This is the
Carolina.
moves I want to know about.
Yeah.
The one that's fighting. Got Decoy on the back of your jersey.
What's the story behind that?
Yeah, that was like my third year in the league.
He was a young one.
Yeah, I was young and feisty, man. But we got George Seifert as a head coach, and I had been balling, man. I was like, at that year I wound up, I think, leading the NFL in the catches. I had like 100-something catches that year. But about midway through the season, Seifert comes to me. He's like, you're drawing a lot of double coverage. I'm like, and he's like, well, this week, I think, we just want you to kind of be a decoy because, you're doing these double coverages. We can start leaking the tight ends behind you and this, and other. And I'm looking at him like, who says that to a dude who's in the middle of a season balling? Like, what are
killing
you
your confidence.
Killing me, right? I said, so let me get this right, coach. You want me to be a decoy? He was like, yeah, decoy,
Dress it up by shivering your shoulders.
Yeah, he's like,
Decoy.
So
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll be decoy this week, and I wrote decoy on the back of my jersey. Went out to practice I taped it, right? And they were like, what are you doing with that on your jersey? coach told me I was Decoy this week, so that's what I am. Man. I'm Decoy.
Such a jerk.
It was,
Such
man.
a
It was shallow, man. I was feisty. It was I was acting out, and I was, my pride was a little hurt. So
What did you learn from that? Were you right? Were you wrong? What did you learn from that?
In the moment, probably not a lot, other than I was probably more stubborn than I should have been. I was being selfish. I shouldn't have been that way. As I look back on it now, we do have these things, even though we call ourselves mature, but there's a learning process along the way, right? It's also going to be maybe a setback here and there. So I did kind of learn that, man, it was probably not the best decision, right? I know I probably didn't have the best, but like I say, man, it was one of these things where I don't think either George Seifert or me, I don't think either one of us made good decisions there, because there's a way to either handle that, even as a head coach with your top players, where you don't go to them and tell them that they're going to be a decoy.
Yeah.
Right. So
I agree.
I didn't handle it that well, though, and I could have handled it better. I think that's the takeaway.
Yeah. Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Hey, man, you got to let me know your the question, man. We ask everybody this.
Oh.
I can't let you out without that, though. Who is on Muhsin Muhammad's Mount Rushmore of influence?
Oh,
Whether it's
wow.
football, coaching, family, who's influenced you the most? You get 4 to be who you are right now.
That's good. I would say
It's a good question.
it's a good question.
Never asked that one before. I ain't never heard that one.
Thanks, Doc.
I'm going to start off with Jesus first, man.
All right, I like
Okay.
that one.
I'm going to start off with faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I like it.
Yeah. In terms of just the game itself, I'm going to say Richard Williamson, man, my first position coach, man.
The one that didn't tell you good job till
The one I hated until
It's
I
crazy
loved
how many
until
that
I loved
happens.
him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I spoke at his funeral, right?
Yeah.
But I also punched him in the chest after he had heart surgery. You know what I'm saying? I was like this, we had this love-hate relationship, right? Of influence, right? I would say, golly, 4 people. All I get is 4, huh?
All you
That's
get.
it.
I mean, we know there's a lot more, but we just gotta
You
for
can kinda bunch it
time
up how
purposes.
you
You can
want,
bunch
but,
it up.
you know.
Yeah. We ain't got that much tape.
Man, I know, right? I would definitely say my father-in-law, man. He was golly, Bob Holtz, man. He was a valedictorian of his Bible school. Married a black woman in the 60s and went through a whole lot, or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kicked out of school as a valedictorian, and he's still married over 40 years, I guess, for almost 50 years. His library is ridiculous. The books he has is unmatched. There's no way you can even. And then, golly, I only get 4, so I would say those 3 pretty impactful. And then I would say, golly, this is kind of random, man, but probably Barack Obama, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Why Barack?
The power and influence and leadership, man, and poise under pressure, being able to handle so much with the weight on your shoulder and having that composure. It's unmatched, right?
I agree.
So
Me too.
I don't know, I would start with them 4, but
I'm cool with that.
I like it.
Your word, your Mount Rushmore has been accepted, and we'll put it out there.
Accepted.
Yeah,
We've never rejected.
That's why I said it's been accepted.
We don't reject answers on this show.
He doesn't need to know we've never rejected anybody. He's just accept it.
Okay.
He didn't actually need to know that.
I don't know, man. I guess that's my randomness, but like
We'll accept it.
Yeah,
You're good.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, but that's off the top of my head. That'd be the 4 right there for the any.
I like the 4.
Yeah.
Those are 4 good ones.
Yeah, that would be my
That's a
4
good
just to
one.
thinking at it right now. So
We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Again,
man.
did you got anything else before I say I appreciate
No.
you before you cut me off for like the 5th time?
Nope.
The 5th time?
let me just say this too before we wrap the show up, man. I love y'all platform too, man. I think y'all do an amazing job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what they call either troll. I watch from a distance, right? And I
Yeah.
just admire guys who are good at what they do, take it serious, and have a certain level of professionalism. And so I really appreciate what you guys bring in this forum, and the exposure to topics y'all cover and what y'all do, man. It's because there's a whole lot of media out there that I don't really think is the right kind of influence on people. But I like what y'all doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Man, appreciate that love.
I'm trying to get that Emmy like you, bro.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that because
Yeah.
I put that on my vision board as one of my goals. And
You can't get it with SEC Nation. You got to get it with us.
well, I'm cool. I don't care how I get it.
You got to get it with us.
I don't care whose name's on it. As
You
long as I'm on
you
it.
got to. I got to be on it with you. You take me. Hey, would you take me with you? Take
it
somebody
with
with
you,
you.
baby. Take it with
you.
Take me with you.
Come on, bro. Take it
Come
with you,
on.
bro.
Come on, dog. Let's go,
Take
man.
me with
Let's
you.
go get it, man.
Take me with
Let's go
you.
get
Take
it.
me and Thomas.
We got you, dog.
Jay and
I see
Jake
y'all-
and
hey.
Taylor. Take us all with you.
Hey, all right. We're going to get out of here on
Yeah,
that, man. Appreciate
yeah.
that, Moose, man.
No
Nothing but
doubt.
love, man. You know how much you mean to us individually, to the city, your family.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I'm so proud and happy for you, honestly.
Appreciate it.
What up,
Honestly.
Doe?
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
so,
what up, though? For real.
There it is. That's he knows. He knows.
You got to say it with the right emphasis.
What up, Doe?
No. What up, though?
Okay, that's all you. I
That's
can't.
Detroit. That's Detroit. All right, that's too Detroit. All right, man, we're going to get you out of here, man. Thank you for all of our listeners and viewers always out there tuning in. Give us that 5-star rating. Leave us a review. Leave a couple comments. Ask some questions. We love to get you guys hit back up, man. We'll continue to keep this thing going. Our beautiful guest, Muhsin Muhammad, today. And wherever you pick up your podcast, whether it's iHeartRadio app or the Apple Podcast, please continue to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're doing big things, shining on big lights on all of our great NFL legends, man, and getting to know so many more of our heroes that we got to watch, play alongside, and be a part of their lives. So
Most
thank you.
definitely.
That's big.
Hey man, this podcast only work when y'all listen, so we appreciate y'all listening and tuning in. I'm Peanut, Moose, that's Rome, NFL Player Second X Podcast. We out.
That was a great outro.